Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to drop some comments below. And realistically, we know that about 90% of you that are watching this are not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. Subscribe.
Get us to 500. We're right there.
We're right there. We're right on the cusp.
All right. And just like we do every week, we're going to go over this week's top 25 rankings. Let's just dig right into it. That is not it.
You know what, girl? You got to move over to the side.
There it is, right? You see it?
Yep.
So I think this is the top 5. I think there's no arguments to be made who should not be in this, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're all in agreement here, and this is actually going to shape up pretty nicely for this weekend as Georgia is going to be taking on Bama at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a huge matchup. I'm really excited about it. I think that's the matchup everyone has circled on their calendar for this college football Saturday.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I mean, I'm going to be back home visiting you, so got to get some food on the grill, got to get some drinks flowing. It's going to be a good day of college football. Texas, Mississippi State, that should be a blowout right there. Mississippi State, one of the worst SEC teams.
I mean, it is the worst. No, it is the worst. Let's go ahead and say that right now. It is the worst SEC team. For Texas, they're rolling with Arch Manning. I know Quinn Ewers practiced today. Sarkisian said, hey, he's questionable. We're not sure. I think you give him one more week to get up to speed. You're not in any danger during this one. I think you roll with Arch for Mississippi State.
Yeah, and a little something. I know Vegas had Arch Manning as number 8 on the Heisman odds. So I don't know where he sits now, but if he just somehow takes over this job, it might be an interesting bet right there. Ohio State takes on Michigan State. That should be interesting, even though I don't think Michigan State is that good this year, but they always play good defense. They always tough out some games, so could be a little interesting. Tennessee, Arkansas. Any fireworks there? Or you think Tennessee get another blowout win?
I don't know, because this isn't Oklahoma. You know what I mean? This is an actual SEC team. Arkansas, I don't know. Like, they have a real athletic quarterback. They, don't really play a whole lot of defense, but they could give them some trouble. And I'm waiting for Tennessee to slip up. I'm waiting for them to show like they are human. I mean, it showed a little bit in that Oklahoma game where it just didn't really seem to click. They should have really blew them out, but they were in control the whole time, but they didn't really put up a whole bunch of points. I'm willing to see. Maybe it's this week, maybe it's not, but Arkansas, like, they have a whole lot to prove on themselves, so maybe they end up giving them a run for their money.
And then we got Kentucky, Ole Miss, and I think this is actually kind of a challenge for Ole Miss because Kentucky gave Georgia a lot of trouble, lost by 1 point. And I'm trying to see what else Kentucky's done this year. They lost to South Carolina.
They got blown out by South Carolina.
Southern Miss. So, I mean, maybe an outlier with the Georgia game, but we worried about Ole Miss at all?
No, but I'm actually excited to see them play someone that's not a tomato can. I mean, we can see what they actually can do. I know they've been running up the score lately. I'm excited to see it.
All right, we move down to 7 through 12. We got Miami, who should just keep tearing through this schedule. And as teams at the top kind of lose to the other top teams, Miami keep working its way up through that top 5. Virginia Tech this week shouldn't be a problem.
Nope, not at all.
Oregon, they're starting to put things together. Their offense getting on track with Dylan Gabriel. They take on UCLA. I think this should be a blowout. I'm kind of interested in what the cover is. How you feeling about Oregon right now? While I look this up really quick.
They're good. I mean, realistically, that this is a weak team in UCLA. They should take advantage of that. They should just boat race them. The one that I'm really interested in there's 2 games right here that I'm really interested in. Penn State taking on Illinois. Illinois just beat Nebraska. All that hype that Nebraska had, they go to their stadium, they beat them, and they take all that momentum and move it forward. If they can beat this Penn State team, which we've seen be really good, but they have a quarterback in Drew Allers who, again, he's good, but can he win in like these tight spots? If Illinois can make it a muddy game, who knows what ends up happening. So I'm really excited about that one. And then Missouri taking on Texas A&M. That could be a sleeper, really good game.
Yeah, I feel like, well, first of all, Oregon minus 23.5 against UCLA. I might take those odds. Penn State, their offense, can it do enough to keep pace with Illinois, who's looking really great this year? Arizona versus Utah. I think I actually kind of like this Arizona squad. They have a quarterback who's really showing a lot. So, I mean, we'll see. I think Utah's really great this year. So I think they'll
Arizona
win.
was ass against. I think they got blown out by K-State, and that was a primetime Friday night game. It was bad. It was really bad. It made Noah Fita look like an amateur. Like he just didn't look up to snuff. And this is a Utah team that plays a tough style. I think that they end up winning by a pretty hefty margin.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
Missouri falls
Missouri,
after going
Missouri
undefeated so far this season. They fall 4 spots. What are your thoughts on that?
Missouri's been running on fumes lately, and we've been saying it every week. We talk about. I mean, this team could maybe beat Missouri. Like Boston College hung with them, Vandy hung with them. Like I think people are starting to notice. Like, is this really a top 10 team? Is this really a top 7 team? I think they're more in the 15 to 25 range, and I think we're going to see that if not this week, going further into the season. This might be another. Maybe I don't think they're going undefeated, but how Florida State went undefeated last year, and people were like, I mean, they're not real though. Like this is how we're feeling about Missouri right now. Like, are they really real? They barely beat Boston College. They barely beat Vandy. I think they pull a tough one right here against Texas A&M that they win, but is that really going to prove that they're as good as they are ranked?
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe A&M pulls this one out because they're a sneaky better than you would think team. They have a really good defense, and now with a quarterback stepping in Marcel Reed, they could have a shot to run a pretty good schedule moving forward. So we'll see.
All right, so then we go to Michigan, who beat USC. Is this kind of an overreach for setting them up 6 spots? Like we saw how much this Michigan team kind of struggled to get offense going in previous weeks, but now we're pushing them up 6 spots to number 12. Are we okay with that?
It's an overcorrection because of how good everyone thought USC was, including myself. Like USC should have dropped tremendously this week. To drop 2 spots after that loss, that's fucking ridiculous. You lost to a quarterback that can't throw the ball. So for me, they should have dropped at least 5 spots. I think Michigan, this is an overreaction again, because you had to put them above USC because they just beat them, but they didn't want to drop USC too much. Again, this is a Michigan team that does not have a quarterback that can throw the ball.
This feels a little bit favoritism on USC end where I think they want to see USC in a playoff. And if you drop them too far too early, can they work their way back? I think definitely I agree. USC should have dropped at least below Notre Dame here to 17. And I definitely below LSU, who I've kind of shit on this season, but they're starting to pull it together, and I like what they're doing now. Louisville is undefeated.
Yeah,
And
but you can't put them under a LSU team who beat them, or you beat. You know what I mean? So you can't, like, if you're ranking them, like USC has to go above LSU because they beat LSU. So and that is shown on paper. You know what I mean? So like that's where you get into these weird situations as a voter, like. Because realistically, how good is LSU going to be by the end of this year? Who knows? But you've already ranked them, and USC, everyone was crowning them as this playoff team, and Michigan goes out there and beats them with no quarterback. And you're right, Louisville should be ranked a little bit higher, but hey, I mean, they played one good team so far. They got to keep it rolling. They're facing Notre Dame. That's going to be a very interesting game.
That could be game of the week right here. Louisville, Notre Dame, both teams fighting to stay playoff relevant here. Like, I think, honestly, if Notre Dame loses, like, you can just notch them out of the playoffs. And if Louisville loses, I think you can notch them because really, are they going to have a strength schedule good enough and wins to win out and work their way back? I don't feel like Louisville has that kind of clout in the ACC.
They don't. Well, because the ACC is ass this year. Like, there's not enough good teams to where if you win on that schedule, you are going to look impressive. You're not.
All right. Then we got Clemson moving up 4 spots. They face a kind of tough Stanford team this week. I mean, I didn't think Stanford was going to win this past week. They actually looked really good. So maybe a test there.
Possibly. But I mean, that's a team that Clemson should beat. Like,
yeah.
realistically, if they're going to be the Clemson that everyone thinks that they were coming into this year, they have to beat Stanford. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to beat Stanford.
Yeah, then we have two teams that we've been impressed with all season. We got Illinois, we got Iowa State. I think, honestly, if I had to pick, I think both these teams keep rolling this week and keep climbing the board.
It's going to be very interesting to see that Penn State game. It's going to be on the road. Everyone knows that that is a tough environment. If they could pull it off, that's going to be a huge feather in their cap, and they're going to shoot up this board. I would say probably another 5 spots if they can beat this Penn State team. For Iowa State, if they could just keep, on this course of just beating good teams, being solid Big 12 teams, they are going to just kind of stay steadily going up 1-2 spots every week. Before you know it, they could be high up on this board.
Yeah. And then
it's a good team. It's a good squad.
I really like them this year. There's kind of my dark horse to be a sneaky playoff team, but Oklahoma State, they lost to Utah with no Cam Rising, with young Isaac Wilson, Zach Wilson's brother. Should they even drop further in this list, or you think they're okay still at 20?
Now they need to win their championship in order to get into the playoffs. I think there's only going to be one, maybe they'll sneak in one more bid, but I think that would only be if Iowa State loses in the championship. Realistically, you could put Iowa State in there, but OK State, you're going to have to win your the Big 12 championship. I don't know. It's going to be hard pressed to see 2 Big 12 teams in the college football playoff. So I think they should be lower. I mean, we'll see how the Big 12 ends up shaking out. It's going to be a very fun conference moving forward.
Yeah, and they play Kansas State this week, who I think Kansas State could be any Big 12 team any given week, and not necessarily that they're going to, but they have the ability to play up to that level.
I think there's a lot of flash. There's a lot of finesse when it comes to K-State, and Oklahoma State plays pretty similar ball. I think where you run into like the difference makers is like the Utah, Iowa State plays a different style. Even again, how they just lost to BYU. BYU plays a rough style of ball, which is not it's not like the rest of the Big 12. There's like 3 teams that play that way, and that's why they are at the top of the Big 12.
Yeah, we have a BYU Kansas State update for the guy who said that if Kansas State loses to BYU, he'll shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up his ass. This Saturday, 9:30 p.m. I don't know if that's Eastern or Pacific. It's going down. He's been doing promo all week. I guess he's following through with his bet, unlike that other guy.
Florida State
guy. So something to watch after the games.
Nope, I'm good.
Oklahoma, I think they should be able to handle Auburn after they get embarrassed this past week. Auburn lost to Cal this year. They're definitely not the same as they were before. I think this should be an easy win for Oklahoma. But do they run out the same quarterback, or do they keep their guy benched?
I don't know if you could go back to Jackson Arnold after that performance. I just don't know if you could do it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they play the quarterback position moving forward. They could do what Florida does, which is split snaps, which I think is so stupid. But anyway, they could do something like that. But it's going to be interesting to see how they end up handling it.
And rounding
BYU cracks into the top 25. That's awesome to see after that win against K-State, where it was in dominant fashion.
Yeah, K-State drops 10 spots. They face Oklahoma State this week. They're really in danger of losing this season right here. Get the second loss, fall off the top 25. Texas A&M, Arkansas this week. I really don't know which way I'm leaning, because I think Arkansas is not that bad. And how good really is this Texas A&M squad too? So I think that's a toss-up for me.
I like this matchup. I think it's going to be a very fun one. Again, like how we were saying, Arkansas has a really dynamic offense. Texas A&M has a really, really solid championship level defense. So it's going to be interesting to see if the quarterback play of Marcel Reed can take them over the top and get them a win here.
Yeah, and then we got Boise State, Washington State. Washington State, I think they're sneaky good. I think they're sneaky will compete with most of these teams that they face this year. And they already beat Washington. Boise State looking to join. This is an early preview of the Pac-12 here. So this is a game I actually really want to watch this week, 7 p.m. So Pacific. I'm hyped.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a Boise State team that was an overtime away from being 3-0 walking into this game. And I think they're really good. I mean, realistically, a lot of people had them winning and coming out as the Mountain West Championship champions for a reason. I think this Boise State team is going to be one to just kind of keep on the radar as a dark horse in the college football playoff.
Yeah, right now Washington State they're undefeated. So beat Texas Tech, beat Washington, came out in overtime beating San Jose. So they are not very consistent with this, but I think they have a shot definitely this week.
Yeah, another great Indiana.
Yeah, where's
Indiana? Where's Indiana? That's it. But other than that, I think that this is going to be a really fun season the rest of the way. This is going to be a good slate of games moving forward into Saturday. I'm really excited for this. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date because we're going to be talking college ball.
Please subscribe. We need 500.
Subscribe.
All right, see you guys.
Later.